The LA Clippers are down 2-0 in a series which analysts said that they will win in 5. Now this is sad, bro. The LA Clippers have it down terrible for them. There's a great chance that they lose in the first round this season. Is it time for LA fans to be concerned? Is it time for them to think like, man, we really might have to blow this shit up? Who knows? Is Kawhi leaving? Is PG getting traded? Well, first of all, I don't think Kawhi is leaving. But nonetheless, we will go through if you should be concerned as a LA Clippers fan. Or shit, they might just run it back next season. Now, for this doomsday type scenario that the LA Clippers are going through, we're going to put together 3 plans on how they could either improve the roster or what they will have to do if Kawhi Leonard or Paul George leaves. So the first plan, they will just see this as a bad thing and they will run it back. Most likely replace veterans like Reggie Jackson, who's been shooting like shit this series, Patrick Beverley, who's been basically useless this series. Serge Ibaka is getting old. They might trade him for something if he still resigns on that mid-level exception. And yeah, their whole plan would just be run it back. And you know what? Yeah, Luka Doncic, he's going to be like the next LeBron of this generation. It's whatever. We're going to try again next year and just not tank for the 5th seed. But okay, here's when it gets juicy. Here is plan B. Plan B is in the event that Kawhi Leonard leaves or disgruntled or just doesn't want to be with the organization. First of all, I'll tell you why I think he won't leave. Kawhi Leonard was in a contending situation in Toronto and would have won a championship last season if he just stayed in Toronto. But he didn't. He left because he wanted to be in LA. And even then, he wanted his own team. He could have went to LA and joined with LeBron. And with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, that is a free ring if I've ever seen one. And the other thing that he could have done is he could have just not chosen to go to LA and just went to a different contender, but he definitely wanted to be in LA with his own team. But anyways, in the event that Kawhi Leonard leaves, I feel like the Clippers are somewhat fine as they are. You know, if Paul George does not demand a trade when Kawhi leaves, I think you're in a great situation. Paul George can be the culture setter for this team, something that the Clippers needed since day one. The Clippers have no culture really and have no like franchise face. You know how like the Lakers have Kobe Bryant, the Heat have Dwayne Wade, the Cavs have LeBron James as their franchise face. The Clippers don't have one. Who is it going to be? Like Bob McAdoo, Corey Maggette? Shit, I have no idea. So he would end up playing out the rest of his career in LA. And even though they probably wouldn't put together a finals run or any success like that, it is good success in my opinion. You are building a culture there in LA. And yeah, they will have somebody as their franchise face, and that'd be Paul George. Somebody to try and reel in free agents in the future when Paul George is retired. Now, Paul George is not going to get you much. Paul George is an amazing player, one of the best players in the NBA. But he is going to age quickly, and we know this. But this is all for just retiring somebody's jersey and having somebody as the face of your organization. I feel like it would be great for the Clippers. The Clippers need that face of the organization. They've been missing this. This is why they choke so much, I feel like. Because the Clippers, as an NBA team, they're more of a business than a culture. If you look at the Lakers culture, the Heat culture, all that, they have so many diehard fans that have been there since day one and that know the culture of, oh, Kobe Bryant used to play for us. Now it's LeBron, and he's doing the same destiny as Kobe Bryant, as trying to win us championships and still respecting the city of LA. I still don't think that the LA Clippers have a face for their organization like that. And Paul George, although it's not the best face for an organization you can have, it is a starting point. Now, like I said, though, Paul George is going to have to kind of be disciplined if he wants to build a culture for the Clippers. Paul George, with all due respect, man, he's been talking some shit the past couple years, even when he got outed against the Nuggets last season. You just can't do that and be the face of an organization. However, though, if Kawhi leaves and they keep Paul George, I feel like it's a win for the Clippers. They don't have their first round picks. They can't tank. Just be competitive and build a culture in LA. But look, now we going on to the third plan. This is the doomsday plan if we've ever seen one. This is in the event that Kawhi Leonard leaves and Paul George wants out. Now, this would suck for the Clippers. Like I said, they have no first round picks. And Paul George, although he is an all-world talent like he's been his whole career, his trade value has gone down because not only the shit he talks, but also his age. However, though, he is on a big, voluptuous contract that people would see him on. I think it's like another 4 years in which he's on that contract. So if you're trading for a superstar on another 4-year contract, I think you can get some great pieces. But what the Clippers will have to do in this situation is they'll try to have to sign and trade Kawhi Leonard and try and get something back for Kawhi. They should do that in the event that Kawhi leaves and PG stays too. But look, if PG stays, you'll still have some like on the back, like, hey, look, this is our best player. We got somebody to build around, even though we won't win the championship. But look, in the event that this happens, I think you need to trade Paul George to a young team. I say like a New Orleans Pelicans. They have so many picks. Shit, you might be able to get a lot from them. Who knows? Zion might have another breakout season like he had this year and next year. And they might want to just try and push themselves into contending as soon as possible. And picking up Paul George would be quite perfect for that. But like I said, you got to try and get your hands on some picks like the Rockets did with James Harden. And you also got to work around on them undrafted streets. Like undrafted player was a KJ Martin this year for the Houston Rockets. He's turned out into a solid role player. Jae'Sean Tate, I don't know if he was drafted or not. No, he wasn't. He was undrafted. And he's been a very solid role player. But look, why don't we go and try and find some undrafted players like a Kendrick Nunn, like a Duncan Robinson, and try to create assets for ourselves? That's what the LA Clippers are going to have to do. Now, I don't see that being too hard. They have an amazing owner in Steve Ballmer and had a great GM that put this roster together. Frankly enough, their GM put together a great roster. Yes, it didn't have many playmakers outside of Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. But look, it was an amazing roster. The one thing that failed the Clippers GM was just the people itself. But anyways, y'all, I do not think Kawhi Leonard will leave even if he loses in the first round. He shows his love for LA, and he got out of a contending situation to go to LA to hopefully contend, which he didn't. But look, man, I do not think Kawhi Leonard will leave. But thank y'all for watching the video. Show y'all support by liking, subscribing. And yeah, if you want to check out my Twitter, do that too. We have some fun over there. Yeah, thank you for watching.